Hello everyone, I'm sorry it's been a while since I've posted anything and anyone's had any replies to their comments. So I've been very busy with work, more busy than usual. So today I thought we would continue with not so much dangerous people or excrement, just what I saw that was what I call red flags, things that didn't sit right with me. Again, Canterbury area. But firstly, I thought we would have a bit of news. So I posted a video at Christmas about Grantham Passage, the charity that I went to for Christmas dinner, and didn't get a great deal of views. It always seems that the videos I do that are about people suffering do a lot better than the ones that are about nice things. Hey, what can I say? That's YouTube for you. But off the back of that video, they did have quite a few people go in and make donations to their cause, which I thought was brilliant. Now, I posted a thing on the Grantham community Facebook page about that video and about what it is that I do, and it was just basically trying to find people local with the area that either have been homeless or are homeless who just wanted to talk about their experience, just to paint a picture of what it's like here. I was contacted by a journalist for the local Grantham paper, and I've done an interview about my channel and what it is that I do. It should be going in next week's paper, and it will be going online next week. So when it does, I will put a link in the community page. We'll start off today as I've got some questions that have been asked, so I thought I'd answer those for you. I can't remember who it was that asked them. I can remember the questions, so we'll just go from there. Okay. What do you do about your stuff when you want to go to the toilet, etc.? Do you take it with you? Do you leave it? Okay, yeah. So, as I mentioned before, you have your go bag. Everything of importance and of value, you keep in your one bag that is always on you at all times. The rest of your stuff, you just got to take that chance and you've got to leave it, unfortunately. Now, how I got around this was I'd padlock the zips of my tent shut when I wasn't there, because it would only be clothes and bedding that was in there. And I used to have other bags of clothes that I'd stash around the area, either in trees, buried in bushes. I had stuff stashed up all over the place. So if anything happened, I always knew I had stuff I'd dotted about. And not everyone's as plans as much as that, but it's just from my experience, it was always good to have backup plans. Next question was about dogs. Is it a good idea to have a dog? My honest opinion, no, absolutely not. I absolutely love animals, like love animals more than people. And if I'd have ended up in that situation with a dog prior to being homeless, and I was then going to end up on the streets with said dog, my priority would have been to get that animal a decent, safe environment to live in, because I do not think it would be fair to subject an animal to that. So that's my opinion. Obviously, there are other people that don't agree with that. What I would say to you is, I'd say more than half of who you see out there with dogs probably aren't actually homeless. They're just using the dog as to pull on your heartstrings so they can beg. Don't get me wrong, I have encountered a few homeless people that have dogs, genuine homeless people, and they'd had those dogs prior to becoming homeless, and I can understand why you wouldn't want to, get rid of them, because like myself, I'd love my dogs like my children. So it would be heartbreaking to let them go, but their safety and their well-being would always come first to me, other than my own selfish needs of wanting them with me. But okay, it's just my opinion. Anyway, next question. I have quite a few about this actually. About my physique. Thank you. That's all I can say. It's flattering. I'm getting old, so I still look good. Hey, that's all right. How do you stay in shape? Eating right, everything when you're on the streets. Well, as I've mentioned before, for myself, because I was in very public view, I never went hungry. People would always bring me food, simple as that. And I've always been sort of reasonably into my health. So, I just sort of pick what I did eat. The simple fact is, if you eat crap, you're going to be crap. But the bottom line, you need to try and eat things, eat healthy things. I eat a lot of fish, I eat a lot of eggs, I drink a lot of milk, and there's my shakes that I've made the video about as well. Don't get me wrong, I do still eat crap. But if I've had heavy days of eating crap, I will tend to fast for a day just to try and balance it out. Sort of just to add to that as well is like I've always been quite a healthy person, and during my time on the actual streets, I'd had an ECG prior to becoming homeless, and then I had another ECG after I was hospitalised at the start of last year. During that time, between those 2 points, I've actually suffered a heart attack. I didn't know it at the time. I was only told after the second ECG that there was these differences and I'd had a heart attack. So I suppose that would just sort of paint a picture for you as to how damaging to your health it is being on the streets. Now, the only thing that would have caused that heart attack would have been just the severe amount of stress that I was under. I haven't had one since, I don't think. No, I haven't. But, it does paint a picture as to how damaging it is to your health being on the streets. The next question, well, it wasn't a question, it was more of a statement. Apparently, I'd make a good social worker. My answer to that is no, I wouldn't. Because the fact of it is, I wouldn't be able to keep my emotions in check. And I'll try and elaborate on that. Is my relationship that broke down to me then becoming homeless, I had two stepchildren. I haven't seen in nearly 3 years. I think about every day. And I miss hugely. Now, if I was a social worker and I was to encounter people that have children, that are neglecting children, I wouldn't be able to maintain a professional attitude. I really wouldn't. Because the simple fact is, I'm 41 years old. I've reached a point in my life where, on top of being terminally single, I will probably never have my own children. And if I was to encounter people that are neglecting their own kids, yeah, that'd get to me big time. And I wouldn't be able to maintain a professional attitude. So no, I wouldn't be a good social worker. Well, maybe I would be, but not for the right reasons. Next question was about my sort of outlook, spirituality outlook, things like that. Tricky one. I believe there's a greater being, without doubt. There is a greater being. I don't believe that's a man in the sky. But I suppose to take a more Masonic look at it, yes, I do believe that there is a great architect out there. Definitely. Like I say, whether that's spiritual or not, I just think there is a higher intelligence than us. Definitely. So I'll leave it at that. We won't go too in depth on that. Oh God, what was the next one? Oh, plans. Okay. So my plans is to educate people. Simple as that. That's what I've been trying to do this whole time, is to educate people on the realities of homelessness in a hope that no one ever suffers what I did. And it's, things have started to improve lately with what's happened with John. Someone's been able to come forward and they've been able to help John, and there was people that had, prior to that helped us to get food and things out to him. And I'm hoping that once we follow John's story a bit more and John starts to, get his life back, I'm hoping his story will inspire others to help other people like him. And that's all I want, is, like I say, just try and make a difference. That's all I can do. Is if I speak loud enough for long enough, hopefully I will make a difference. Like I say, because it's very personal to me, and what happened to me. I don't want anyone else to go through that. There was another question, was what is my situation at the moment? So I suppose not everyone follows all of the videos. So obviously I'm no longer on the streets. I have accommodation, this lovely place that you see me in now. I have a job where I build commercial vehicles. Absolutely love it. Work a lot of hours. And I've got a real good career here, and the accommodation I have is mine for as long as I need it. Obviously, I do aspire to have my own home again. So that's Q&A out of the way. Crikey, that was a long one. So we better get through this quick to keep you watching. Okay, so yeah, things that I saw, red flags, dodgy things that didn't sit right with me. Okay, so first one. There was a chap that I used to see every evening. He'd come out about 6 o'clock in the evening. He was probably in his late 50s. He wasn't homeless, he was just a local guy. Walk up and down the high street. Obviously, I was sat in the high street, so I'd clock him. I'd see him coming up and down. Now, there was something about this guy that just gave me such shivers down my spine. Yeah, His skin had the complexion of someone that hadn't seen daylight for 25 to life. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And there was just the way his eyes, just the look in his eyes, I can only liken to a shark. There was just nothing there. There was nothing going on behind them eyes. He'd walk up and down that high street all evening, and he'd give me the old side eye as he'd walk past me. And I used to say to people, I think the day's going to come where he's going to stab me to death. Like, he looks like a serial killer. And then there was one day that he was walking up down, and he had a digital camera in his hand, he was holding like this. There was a lot, Canterbury student city, a lot of young girls out wearing next to nothing, and he's taking sly pictures of them, and I had to speak up. And he wasn't phased at all by me saying, like, what the hell are you doing, you perv? Wasn't phased. Didn't say a word to me. Was not phased in the slightest about me calling him out on this. Guy gave me the absolute creeps. Really, he came across as seriously dangerous. You know, he looked like he hadn't seen daylight in 25 to life. I'm being deadly serious here. Okay, next one. Right, so there was an elderly gentleman in his 70s, wasn't homeless, however, he chose to live on the streets. He had a home, but he couldn't look after himself. The house was grot, you know, not livable. Guy couldn't look after himself at all. Incredibly vulnerable. And he sort of latched on to me, and he'd spend like the day with me, and then of an evening, he had a radar key, so I'd take him around to the disabled toilets by the library about 11 o'clock at night. He'd be able to let himself in. They're heated. We'd get him some cardboard, and he would sleep. Now they were clean. You know, it was the ones by the library. They weren't disgusting, so he was safe in there. Could lock himself in. But essentially, to the point, I had to look after him, and I'd got onto the police and social services about this. That this guy can't look after himself. He's living out on the streets by choice. You know, there needs to be intervention. And there wasn't. Now there was these the ones that I'd mentioned before, the couple that walked up and down the high street begging, the ones that said their baby was in hospital and they'd run out of fuel. They used to hassle him all the time. They knew when he'd get his pension, and they'd go and find him, and they pretty much would march into a cash point and take all his money off him. So I had to try and sort of intervene in that, which I didn't want to be getting involved in because I need to think about my own safety at the end of the day. But like I said, I've got the police involved, got social services involved, and no one wanted to know. And in the end, as horrible as this sounds, I just had to say to him, like, look, I can't do this anymore. I've got to think about me. Okay, you've got a home. If you choose not to live there, that's on you, but I can't look after you. Okay, it's not my responsibility. I know that sounds horrible, but situation I'm in, I've got to think about myself, okay, because it's about me staying alive. From what I know, same thing's still going on. There's been no intervention, so I had this is quite a common one actually, and you can look into this. This isn't me being prejudiced or anything. So I had these two kids come up to me. They were clearly from the travelling community, and they asked me if I wanted a job, and I just thought no. And what they offered me was £70 a day cash in my hand, so I could still claim my benefits, and I'd have somewhere to live, and I'd get 3 meals a day. You know, so it sounds like a dream come true. Now, for those of you that don't know, okay, and this has been widely reported in the case of this happening, sometimes people from these communities that aren't decent people, they will find people in the situation I was in and give them that offer, and essentially these people end up trapped and they become slaves. And there have been cases of people having to be rescued by the police. There have been cases of people dying. Okay, so this isn't me being prejudiced in any way. I'm simply going by the facts that I have seen. Okay, and that is what instantly jumped me when I'm being offered this. I'm thinking, no, this isn't some fantastic offer that's going to change my life. This is dangerous, and this is ultimately going to be damaging to my health and to anyone else's health. So I tried to warn the other guys out that I got on with that it wouldn't be a good idea to take them up on this offer. But I say it just shows that people prey on the vulnerable, and it's not good, because who wouldn't, a lot of these guys out here, who would notice if they went missing? No one. anything could happen to them. No one would know, and realistically, no one would care. And they're preying on that, and that don't sit right with me. It really doesn't. Oh, crikey. I've lost my thread a bit now. That one got to me. But no, I did see a lot of things that didn't sit right with me. I really did. There was a chap that used to come over on the bus to score drugs. He wasn't homeless, but he'd come over to get drugs. I think he went by the sort of the outlook of don't shit where you eat, so he didn't get drugs where he lived. He came over to Canterbury to get his drugs, but he'd sometimes have his son in tail. Son was about 11, 12 years old, and you think, and obviously it would be through the homeless community that he would then be able to get his drugs, yeah. So he'd be exposing his son to that, and that element would then be where you'd have your street drinkers. So it's not an environment that you want children around, okay? And that didn't sit right with me either. That really didn't. But hey, a lot goes on. It really does, and I think the majority of the public are completely blind to it. But again, that's the point. I'm trying to paint this picture for you, just so you know what realistically is going on in your high streets, because it's not good. And I'll keep doing these videos in the hope that something will change. And slowly things have started to change. People are starting to help people. People are recognising that this is quite a serious issue, that people aren't out here through choice, and that not everyone is a junkie or an alcoholic, or even if they are, there's normally a story behind that. They're still people, okay? I think that's what a lot of times is what's forgotten, is that they're still people. As I said time and time again, that could be your mum or your dad, your brother or your sister, or your son or your daughter. It doesn't discriminate. Anyway, big love, and we'll be back soon. Right.